Buffalo Bills at the Los Angeles Chargers. Bills favored by 12 here at LA. First game without Brandon Staley for the Chargers. Who's the interim head coach again?
For the Chargers?
Yeah.
The guy who's named after an internet picture type. GIF.
Oh, yeah, GIF. It's got to be GIF, right?
I mean, yeah. Since
interim head coach bump here against the Bills.
Yeah. You think that's going to happen?
Come on, Google.
Come on, Google.
When you Chargers head coach, Brandon Staley, you're a liar. Google,
yeah, no,
you're a liar.
It's not him at all.
It's certainly not. GIF Smith.
GIF Smith.
Yeah.
GIF Smith. Good on GIF. Win one for the GIFfer.
Easton Stick, probably no Keenan Allen again. Chargers just lost by 1 million last week.
I don't think it's going to go well for them.
No.
I mean, last week, it was the type of game that does and did get people fired. They gave up. I mean, that game happened, and one of the first things I said to you was, did the Raiders even play well? Like, the Chargers just laid over and died, and the Raiders put up 60 on them. And it was difficult to tell. I'd made this sort of slightly rash comment that I'm not 100% convinced yet that Justin Fields is better than a guy like Aiden O'Connell. And I was like, what would really be terrible off the back of that comment would be for Aiden O'Connell to go out there and pitch like 5 turnover-worthy plays on an island game where everybody's watching. I'm like, I'm going to get a lot of tweets back for that. But he ends up with this great statistical line where, again, it's like I don't know that he even played that well. It's just that the Chargers had my back that day. You know? They were like, I'm going to make sure that Aiden O'Connell has a good statistical day so that Sam doesn't have a wall of tweets in his mentions.
O'Connell has 2 good games, 79 grade last week against the Chargers, 85 against the Chiefs, where he did kind of keep them competitive for a while against the Chiefs. Other than that, hasn't been great. But yeah, in that Raiders game, in that Chargers game, O'Connell throws for 4 touchdowns, passer rating of $120.
Yeah.
Bills' rushing attack was the story last week with James Cook and them wrecking the Cowboys and Josh Allen only completing 7 passes. The big thing so the Bills have the Chargers and the Patriots, and they finish with the Dolphins. They are now a team that was fighting for their playoff life a few weeks ago. And even when they started fighting for their playoff lives, blew a game against the Eagles. And they were still able to come back and beat the Chiefs and beat the Cowboys in back-to-back weeks. I think the biggest thing for the Bills is not to have a letdown here because they don't have – they put themselves in this position where they were a 500 team just a couple weeks ago. And so they have to take care of business against the Chargers, against the Patriots, and then they're at Miami the last week of the season, which could still actually be for the division because Miami's got the Cowboys and Ravens the next 2 weeks.
What's that you say? High leverage? Well, the Buffalo Bills with a win this week have a 68% chance of making the playoffs, but with a loss, that drops all the way down to 25%.
Yeah, so Buffalo needs to every game's a playoff game for Buffalo from here on out, even though they'll be favored by double digits the next 2 weeks. At the Chargers, at home against the Patriots, they'll be double-digit favorites. In past years, the Bills mopped up in these opportunities. This year, every time they were favored by double digits, they disappointed me because I kept picking them. To me, that's the story of the game here. But for Buffalo, the fact that their defense has started to play much better, Rasul Douglas addition a few weeks ago, I think has helped a lot. I don't see the Chargers having much opportunity to make plays against this Chargers defense, especially with all their injuries. Easton Stick's second start. Where are you going with this one?
Yeah, I think they get a bump, but the bump is like not getting waxed by 40. It's like the defense, the team doesn't give up and just mail in the game before it's even started. I don't think it's enough to help them win or even necessarily be competitive. So I am going for Buffalo to cover even a ridiculously large line like 12.
Yeah, I'll take Buffalo as well. What I'm curious to see with what are the big, a lot of times you have the big changes. Like Carolina, since they made a coaching change, is running the ball like crazy, volume and effectiveness. Are the Chargers just going to start playing man coverage all the time? Are they just going to overhaul? What's going to be overhauled here for the Chargers with a coaching change? I'm not sure. I'm curious to see that, I guess. But I'll take Buffalo to cover the 12. That game's Saturday night at 8. Is that the game that's exclusively on Peacock?
I
believe it is. I've heard
you.
Tirico's been pushing it, and I'm going to help him out. You might need to get Peacock.
We should
to watch this game.
Maybe this
streaming.
could be a quid pro quo of plugs. You know, we push Tirico's game here
That's a
on
good
the
point,
PFF
yeah.
NFL podcast, and Mike Tirico to the audience of Sunday Night Football could push the PFF NFL podcast
We'll
awards.
push Peacock to our millions. He'll push the PFF NFL podcast to their millions.
people helping people.
So Mike Tirico, if you want to just encourage people to not only download and listen to the PFF NFL podcast as you do, Mike Tirico is a listener.
But more importantly, go and vote for us.
And more importantly, go vote for us for American Football Podcast of the Year. I'm sure Chris is going to drop.
I don't see any reason that couldn't be dropped on the broadcast.
We could buy some ad time.